as a provider, you realize you're not just a provider. You don't just have a prescription pad. You are a mentor, you're a listener, you're a lifeline. And that kind of service that fills our cup.
Welcome to That's Derm Good. I'm Janelle Ball, and I'm excited to bring you thought-provoking conversations about biologics, specialty medications, treatments, and so much more. I'll be chatting with some amazing guests about access, affordability, and advocacy. You're really going to enjoy this show. Welcome to That's Derm Good. Today, my guest is Amy Snow. Amy is the founder and executive director of Project Happy Face and owner of Snow Dermatology. Welcome, Amy. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Janelle. So fun to be here with you this morning. Thank you for spending some time with me.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to chat about Project Happy Face. I mean, you've told me a little bit about it, and I'm so interested to hear how this even came about. A little bit of your history in dermatology first. You've been a derm PA for a little while, and then you started your own practice. How did that happen?
Just a little while, yeah. I spent most of my career in Southern California in Beverly Hills and relocated to Oregon. I was forced by my best friend to meet my now husband. So he lived in Oregon, and so that's how I arrived. And once I got to Oregon, I needed to figure out a way to move Project Happy Face, the entity, from California to Oregon, and that took a little bit of time. So while I was working on that, I was working for the SDPA actually as their industry liaison. Prior to that, I was the Dermatology PA Foundation executive director. So I had some side projects that I was working on. Meanwhile, trying to figure out a way to get Project Happy Face incorporated into the geography of Oregon, and looking at the map and realizing that there was no dermatology care east of Central Oregon, I figured we needed to pivot our mission and figure out a way to meet the patients where they're at and provide care. And then around the same time, the legislation changed and PAs are able to own their own clinic now, just like a nurse practitioner. So we don't have supervising physicians anymore in Oregon. We have collaborative physicians. So that legislation really was the policy that enabled me to spread my wings and really pivot and grow and evolve Project Happy Face and open a clinic of my own where we have plenty of time now to see patients and give them the dignity that they deserve and the time to listen to them and create relationships within the community. So it's just been such a blessing that that legislation was passed.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So what is the difference between the supervising physician and collaborating physician?
That's a really good question. So supervising physician, and every state is a little bit different. So it's super confusing and can be really frustrating as a new PA trying to navigate, where they want to live. But in Oregon, the supervising physician prior to the collaborative physician was physician that was in the office or, a phone call away, and they oversaw all of the patients. They had to sign, I believe, 10% of the patient chart notes. And they were really, at the end of the day, legally liable for anything that happened. The change in policy from supervising physician to collaborative physician removes that liability. So the physician is no longer liable for anything that perhaps the PA encounters. And so we're really more independent. We don't have to have them sign chart notes, and they really can just be a phone call away, email or text message. It's an agreement that stays within the office, and you don't even file it with the medical board.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I always wondered that. I'm like, well, what's the difference? But that definitely clears it up. So tell me, okay, so you started Project Happy Face in California, and then you moved it to Oregon.
I did.
So tell me a little bit about what inspired you to start
Project Happy Face?
Yes.
I think just identifying that teenagers have a hard enough time as it is. They're under so much social pressure, constant comparison of each other, non-stop social media now influencing them, most of them in the wrong ways, especially in skincare, but just the impossible feeling of never being enough. And you couple that with having one, two, or a face full of acne, plus perhaps maybe coming from a broken home, maybe you have some food insecurities. And how is that teenager ever going to create a cape of hope to go conquer the world and be a change maker? So I decided that I could treat their acne super easily in the office for free if they signed a contract to smile at strangers and increase civility in their community. So this really was not a handout. This was truly a lift up. And finding those teenagers, finding our future leaders hidden underneath their hoodies, hiding underneath their baggy clothes, not speaking when they come to the office, clearing up their face and giving them the courage and the confidence to go do what they want, spread their wings, hopefully become our future leader, hopefully make change.
Wow. I love that. I love that you said you have them sign a contract that they will smile at a stranger. That makes so much sense. I mean, when you think about, these young kids that are feeling self-conscious, that don't necessarily want to talk to somebody because they're afraid of what they might say, even their peers. And, it makes a huge impact on your mental health and how you interact with others when you're worried about your appearance and, when you're worried about acne and struggles with that. So I love that you have created this. That's a really cool concept.
And I think there is science behind a smile, right? The teenagers don't know that, but you can train your brain to project whatever attitude you want. And if you want to change your attitude or you want to feel better about yourself, smiling is the first step. And smiling actually reduces blood pressure and it releases endorphins in our brain. And so that's a trickle down effect to just overall wellness. And they don't know that, but it's kind of a fun little trick.
Yeah, it is. I love that. Well, and it also kind of helps take that pressure off too. When you smile at somebody, versus just kind of giving somebody the side eye or something like that. When you're smiling at somebody, it changes the whole atmosphere.
Yes. And we are showing up, offering them dignity, mentorship, hope. We're not just writing a prescription. We're forming relationships with them and showing them the path forward, especially in these small towns.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how that works. You go to different areas. So you moved from California to Oregon. And now that you're in Oregon, what does this look like? And where do you go? And how do you connect with all of these young people?
We are located in Central Oregon. That is where Project Happy Faces headquarters are. And so if you look on a map, you'll see right in the middle, Bend, Oregon. And just to the west of us are the Cascades. So we sort of have a verbal agreement with OHSU, the Night Cancer Center, that they'll sort of serve the west of the Cascades. And we're kind of dealing with the east of the Cascades. And they call that the frontier area. So what we've done is created partnerships with some school districts in rural areas, with rural health clinics in rural areas, and the hospital system to figure out where these small towns are that do not have dermatology care. Most of them don't have any health care besides just a rural clinic that might be located strategically in the center of 3 or 4 towns, let's say. But each of those towns still is an hour drive to that rural health clinic. And most of the time, the rural health clinic is manned by a nurse practitioner. So they're doing everything. And so we can partner with them and bring our 24-foot mobile trailer to their clinic and treat people that have dermatology concerns. We have expanded our program now, so we are not just providing care to teenagers with acne. We created a Screen to Save program, which is our skin cancer screening program, where we've partnered with Curtis Thompson of CTA Pathology, who has granted us unlimited biopsies and pathology specimen services for free to anyone that's underinsured. So now we are biopsying skin cancer and perhaps removing it if we need to on a return visit. So currently right now, we are headed back to a town called Fossil to excise a squamous cell on a female's arm. And that will be next month. So those partnerships are really, really valuable. And on Tuesdays, so the first Tuesday of every month, we're in one school district. And the third Tuesday of every month, we go to two other schools. So we kind of alternate. And then our Thursdays are spent sort of with first responders or more outreach. A couple weeks ago, we were with the police department. So it's been really, really amazing to expand and have the support to be able to bring the trailer to those small towns.
Yes, that is amazing. I mean, especially when you go to these places, I'm sure you meet so many people that are outdoors all the time, that are working outside, that aren't really even thinking about their skin, let alone getting a skin check or having any concerns that, oh, you know what, maybe I should get this checked out. Tell me a little bit about guys going into a stadium and what happened there.
Okay, so we were invited to go to the Pendleton Roundup. Pendleton, Oregon is home of one of the best, most famous rodeos in the country. It is in the northeast corner of the state. And through our relationship with the OHSU Night Cancer Center, they called and asked if we wanted to bring our trailer and park at the stadium and give free skin cancer screenings after the Roundup parade. So the parade is sort of the kickoff to the rodeo and, of course, all the fun that comes with the parade. And so what we did was I took the graphic from the side of our mobile trailer, the melanoma education side, and I had them made into sandwich boards. So we had 5 of us with all 5 melanoma education letters, the ABCs, the E of melanoma. And so we were walking in the parade, handing out sunscreen and candy, and a man saw us walk by and looked down at his leg after looking at all the sandwich boards and realized that he had a lesion that was of concern and began walking down to where the trailer was. Because we had advertised on the side of the OHSU van that was in the parade that we were doing free skin screenings at the stadium in the Hall of Fame parking lot. And that's where Project Happy Faces trailer was ready and set up for us. And so this man walked down to the trailer and came in for a skin check. And it was obvious that this was going to be a very bad melanoma. So we biopsied it. And it was confirmed last week that it was an invasive melanoma. He will need to have some serious follow-up care. He actually lives in Walla Walla, Washington, but was down in Pendleton for the rodeo and the parade. His daughter is a police officer there, so he was watching her in the parade. And then Walla Walla is about an hour from Pendleton. So once I received the result, and again, looking back at the map, there was nowhere for me to send him for follow-up care. I did reach out to a dermatologist that was so awesome in Tri-Cities, and he said, we can't help him either, Amy, because there's nobody in the Tri-City area that does a sentinel node biopsy. So his options living in Walla Walla were to drive 3.5 hours to Spokane, to the cancer center there, or 4 hours to OHSU. I really wanted him to go to OHSU, and he agreed that he wanted to come to OHSU. So he'll be coming in a couple weeks. They'll be biopsying his lymph node, and then hopefully we will have a plan and move forward with that. The medical students that were with us are at OHSU, so hopefully they will get to accompany him to his consult and hopefully shadow the melanoma excision, which will just be a full circle case for them. We ordered the Castle test, so we will meet with those OHSU students upon return of those results and take advantage of the case to educate them a little bit more.
Wow, that's so amazing. And it really just goes to show how important creating that awareness is. And when you see that out there, you're more likely going to say, oh, you know what, maybe I should go get my skin checked, or let me see what I should be looking for. I love that. I love that you guys did that. That is so amazing.
Yeah, if you think about it, somebody walks by on a sandwich board and you just look down and you see a black spot on your leg and think, gosh, that's been there forever. But without the knowledge, how would you know?
Right. And it's really sad that there's nothing that close to him. Like that's unbelievable.
Shocking. That is very shocking. It is unbelievable. And I continue to be humbled by the frontier range and the space between urban healthcare systems because it is very, very sparse. And it's amazing when you just look at the map and think, those are people out there living. They're not patients. Like, those are people. They have lives. We need to meet them where they are and spread awareness that we can get care out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's definitely a huge barrier in these rural and underserved communities. I mean, I don't understand how else would they be able to get this information? You know, would it be just going to their family physician, and then those family physicians should be expected to know what to look for?
Sure. And I think any primary care physician or provider would have seen that lesion on his leg and biopsied it. It was textbook, right? But the issue is there's a shortage of primary care providers in Oregon and Washington. So he doesn't even have a primary care provider at 56 years old. And we hear that time and time again.
Yeah, that is
such a
so
shortage,
wild.
Such a shortage for primary care providers.
Yeah. What has surprised you the most in your journey with Project Happy Face?
Definitely that, just what we talked about, the lack of providers and how broken the healthcare system is. And I think, we talk about, let's go to Ecuador, let's go to Haiti and volunteer. And guess what? There is a need outside your door. I guarantee you 60 minutes from your office, there's something that you could be doing to help people on our home turf. We don't have to be traveling halfway across the globe, although that's wonderful and I love it. There is a huge need here in the United States that I don't think a lot of people realize.
Yeah, absolutely. You've also volunteered with AAD and you've done some work in Haiti as well.
I did go to Haiti after the earthquake, immediately after the earthquake, and we set up a clinic about 3 hours north of Jacmel, which is where epicenter of the earthquake was. And so we sort of set up this makeshift health clinic. I was the only dermatology provider, and the patients were walking sometimes overnight to see us. I saw about 60 to 70 patients a day. And then when I was done with the dermatology patients, I went over to the dental tent and learned quickly how to extract teeth and started extracting teeth till a little past 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Wow.
It was really, really intense. And unfortunately, we can't go to Haiti anymore. They're not allowing planes to land there. So unfortunately, I don't think they're receiving any aid from anyone, which is really heartbreaking. And yes, I did. I used to do tons of melanoma screenings for the AAD. Now we just do them ourselves with our Screen to Save program. But they were really the ones that launched the love for that early on in my career.
That's amazing. I love what you're doing with just within the community and reaching this underserved community. So many people that are not getting the support that they need. What would you say to other PAs or NPs or physicians even that are wanting to go out and kind of do the same thing? Like, how do you encourage them to start doing that?
I think serving outside the exam room is the antidote to clinician burnout. It really is. When we step outside the practice, the walls of our practice, the walls of our room, and you meet the people where they're at, you come to their communities and you reconnect with humans, it reminds us why we all went into this in the first place. And so it is hugely impactful for your own mental health. It is super powerful in preventing clinic burnout. But it's those moments that as a provider, you realize you're not just a provider. You don't just have a prescription pad. You are a mentor, you're a listener, you're a lifeline. And it's that kind of service that fills our cup in order to return to the clinic and provide the best possible care we can provide. And burnout thrives in isolation and burnout thrives in bureaucracy. And those are two things that are very elevated right now, especially the bureaucracy. And when you can go out and meet somebody in the community, it's so much more valuable than an RVU. And I would just encourage any clinician clinician to start small, find something that you are passionate about. It doesn't even have to be healthcare, right? Maybe it's something else, but you could easily start with just creating a lunch and learn for the police department or the fire department. I did a lunch and learn for the Bend Parks and Rec, and it was wonderfully received. I think we had close to 80 people there, and we did one for the fire station. And so that's something that's really powerful. You can call these agencies up and say, you know what, we're going to open our office on Saturdays from 9 to 3. Please have your team come in and we're going to honor them and thank them for their service and give them skin cancer screenings. So it's super great. It's easy. I'd be happy to bounce ideas off of anyone, but it really is a movement. And I hope more of clinicians join us.
Yes, I love that. That is so awesome. So you've got a lot of accolades as well. Congratulations to you. So you were named one of the top 50 PAs in the country by the NCCPA and a fun and fearless female by Cosmopolitan. That is amazing.
That one was fun, isn't it?
Yes. That is so cool. Lots of recognition.
Because it's been a great journey. I am very, very grateful.
So, and you recently got another award. Is that correct?
Yes. The Oregon Medical Association chose me as their 2025 PA Citizen of the Year. So that is truly, truly exciting and very rewarding.
Yes, that's amazing. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Janelle.
Well, I am so excited to follow more of Project Happy Face and to see what else you are doing. So how do people follow you? How do they find out where you're going to be? Do you have like a schedule set up where you go and have different locations that you're set up at, or how does that work?
Yes, we do have a schedule. We have our website, projecthappyface.org, and you can book. If you go to like book treatment, it pretty much has our events for the next handful of months. And thankfully, our partnership with Next Health allows anyone to just book an appointment, which has been super great because the towns will be notified that we're coming, usually by a local media, or the rural clinics will direct them to make their appointment online. Then we can electronically send them the paperwork and everything is complete. And it's a nice little tight package once we arrive. So the Next Health partnership has allowed us to really just eliminate any administration burdens that we have and manage everything by ourselves, which is great. So our events are always online. Our Instagram is at Project Happy Face, and Instagram and the website.
That's awesome. We'll definitely be following you, and we'll put that information in the show notes as well. So anyone that's in that area that is interested in checking you out or following where you're going to be, we'll have that listed in there. But thank you so much, Amy. It was such a pleasure talking to you and learning about Project Happy Face. I think this is such an amazing thing that you are doing. And I love that you're supporting the community and really helping to make a difference and an impact on so many lives. It's such an amazing thing.
Thank you so much for spending time with me. It was great to get to know you and talk about Project Happy Face.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me and listening to That's Derm Good. You can expect new episodes of That's Derm Good every week. The podcast is available on your favorite app, including where you're listening right now. Subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a new episode. Bye.